Hi everyone, I am Dr. A.R. Vijay Babu, working as an assistant professor in Department of EEE, Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research, deemed to be University. So we are discussing the fourth unit of SPVT2, that is Battery Energy Storage Technologies. So we have already gone through some of the learning objectives of this unit in the last class itself. So what we have learnt, so we have gone through why do we need energy storage, and we have also gone through architecture and components of energy storage system. Then we have seen what is battery energy storage system. Then we have gone through the process of charging and discharging in a rechargeable or a secondary battery. And finally we have gone through what is the performance curves of a battery. Now in this particular class we are going to discuss the last two learning objectives of this unit number 4, that is battery energy storage technologies. And they are working of different types of batteries. So we are going to see the working of a lead acid battery, the working of a nickel cadmium battery, and the working of a lithium ion battery. And then we are going to see different performance indicators of a battery, like what is a battery capacity, what is state of charge, what is depth of discharge, then what is round trip efficiencies, what is self discharge, and many more things that we are going to see in this particular lecture. So we have already gone through the performance curves of batteries. What are the different types of batteries in the earlier lecture. And now let's see the batteries in PV systems and how they will be useful and where they will be useful and where they have to be placed. So the energy output from a solar PV systems in general is stored in a battery or in a battery bank, depending upon the arrangement of the system. So what do you mean by a battery bank? A battery bank is nothing but a combination of different batteries in either parallel or in series. We have already gone through in our third unit what is a series and parallel combination of solar cells. The same is the case with the battery bank. A PV array is similar to that of a battery bank. A PV array means it's a series and parallel interconnection of solar cells, and likewise a battery bank is also a series and parallel interconnection of batteries. So in order to improve the voltage rating, we'll keep the batteries in series. In order to improve the current rating, we'll keep the batteries in parallel, and the series parallel combination of these batteries is termed as battery bank. And whatever the energy we have collected from the solar PV arrays, we are going to store them in a battery banks. And mostly the batteries are used in standalone solar systems. And what are the standalone solar systems? The standalone solar systems are nothing but the solar street lights. The best example of this standalone system is a solar street lights. So whenever there is during the morning time, the solar panels convert the sunlight into electrical energy, and they are going to store that energy in a battery. And during the evening time, whenever we need the street lighting, then the energy will discharge from the battery and the lights will glow. It is how the standalone street lighting system will work. So the batteries are generally used in standalone PV systems. And in the case of grid connected systems, batteries are also used as a backup system. That means whenever you are connecting the solar panels to the grid and you are generating the energy from the solar panels, during the morning time you need to store that energy. The energy will be produced, and the amount of energy which we require will be consumed by the, so in a grid connected solar PV system, the solar PV arrays will generate the energy. Some of the energy will be used now and then, and the remaining energy have to be stored in a batteries for its further usage during the night time. So the batteries are used in standalone as well as grid connected solar PV systems. So what are the primary benefits or functions of a battery in a PV system? Why we need to use the batteries in a PV system? There are three different benefits or need of using a battery in a PV system. Now let's discuss one by one. The first one is for energy storage capability and autonomy. So what do you mean by this energy storage capability? It is nothing but to store the electrical energy when it is produced by the PV array and to supply the energy to the electrical loads as needed by them on demand. So during the morning time we can collect the energy, so we can generate the energy by means of a solar panels, and that stored energy have to be stored in a battery, and whenever that load requires the energy, then we need to supply it during the night time when that load requires it. It is one purpose of a battery. Or on the other hand, we are discussing about the autonomy. What do you mean by this autonomy? Autonomy is nothing but today there is a bright sunshine, so you are storing the electrical energy that is produced from a solar panels during the daytime. And tomorrow and day after tomorrow, you don't know what might be the condition of the atmosphere. There might be cloudy season, there might come clouds, and because of that there might be a reduction in the solar radiation and the amount of energy being collected. On the other hand, there might be rainy day and you may not be able to collect the solar energy properly by means of solar panels. Then what about tomorrow and day after tomorrow? So for that reason, even though when there is no sunshine, you should be able to supply the energy to the consumers at least for 2 to 3 days. And this 2 to 3 days is nothing but the autonomy. That is nothing but we will multiply or we will increase the battery banks. So we will increase the number of battery banks so that more amount of energy will be stored in the battery bank. And similarly, we will increase the solar PV array capacity also accordingly to ensure the reliable power supply. So for example, for tomorrow or day after tomorrow, if we don't have a solar power generation, then we can use it from the batteries, from the previous day's storage. It is the first and foremost advantage of using batteries in a solar PV systems. The second one is voltage and current stabilization. So to supply the power to the electrical loads at stable operating voltages and currents by supporting or smoothing out transients that may occur in PV systems. So we cannot ensure that we'll get continuous supply from a PV system. For example, at 10 o'clock we will get some amount of energy from the solar panels. At 12 o'clock, since the radiation got increased, we'll get some other amount of energy from the solar panels. So there are transients in the solar panels voltage and current which is generated during the day, but loads will require a constant flow of current and voltage through them for their proper operation. So we need to send the stabilized voltage and current through the loads, and for this purpose we will use batteries. And the third one is supplying the surge currents. So to supply surge or high peak operating currents to electrical loads or applications, we need batteries. For example, the motors will start with high running currents, but when they are in operation, they will go with rated currents. So in order to supply these high peak currents, we need to use batteries in conjunction with solar panels at the beginning. So all these are the three different functions of using batteries in PV systems. Now let's discuss the first type of a battery, that is a lead acid battery. Now let's discuss the working of three different kinds of batteries in this lecture. The first one is a lead acid battery, second one is a nickel cadmium battery, and the third one is a lithium ion battery. Now let's see the working of a lead acid battery. And before that, what is a lead acid battery? A lead acid storage battery is a secondary or a rechargeable battery in which electrical energy can be stored as chemical energy. And then the stored chemical energy can be again be converted into electrical energy when required. So the battery which uses sponge lead and lead peroxide for the conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy and vice versa, that is conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy, is known as a lead acid battery. The lead acid batteries or LA batteries are widely used in internal combustion engines of automobiles and emergency power supplies like UPS and inverters. The conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy by applying external electrical source is known as charging of battery. Whereas conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy for supplying to the loads is termed as discharging of a battery. So conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy is nothing but discharging of a battery, whereas conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy is known as charging of a battery. So what happens during charging and discharging? We have already gone through it in our previous lecture. So during charging of a battery, current is passed through it which causes some chemical changes inside a battery, and this chemical changes absorb the energy during their formation. So when battery is connected to the external load, the chemical energy which is stored inside a battery is now have to be converted into electrical energy, and in this process the chemical reaction reverses. the chemical reaction spontaneously reverses in order to convert the stored chemical energy into electrical energy required by the load and supply it to the load. So, the materials used in lead acid batteries. So the cathode, which is a positive electrode, to the positive electrode in a lead acid battery, that is cathode, is made of lead dioxide, PbO2, and the negative electrode or the anode in a lead acid battery is made of porous sponge lead, Pb, and the electrolyte which is used in a lead acid battery is sulfuric acid, H2SO4, and the separator which is used in lead acid battery is polyethylene. And this lead oxide and the positive plate of this lead acid battery is made of lead dioxide, and the color of this lead dioxide is dark chocolate brown, and the negative plate of this lead acid battery is made of porous lead, and this porous lead will be in the form of a sponge and its color is grey. Whereas sulfuric acid is used as an electrolyte in a lead acid battery. Particularly we will use dilute sulfuric acid. So we have to mix water and acid in the ratio of 3:1, and we have to use this solution in a lead acid battery. Now coming to the working of this lead acid battery, the lead acid storage battery is formed by dipping lead peroxide plate and porous lead plate in a dilute sulfuric acid electrolyte. So what are the charging and discharging processes taking place inside a lead acid battery? At the positive plate we have lead peroxide, and at the negative plate we have lead, right? And during the charging, the lead oxide at the positive plate will be converted into lead sulfate, PbSO4, and the lead which is at the negative plate is also converted into lead sulfate, PbSO4. With that, the electrical energy is getting charged in terms of chemical energy in a battery, and the stored energy will be released during discharging whenever the load requires it. So during this process, the PbSO4 which is there at both the positive and negative plates will again be converted into PbO2 at the positive plate and Pb at the negative plate, and with this the stored electricity will be again supplied back to the load, and this is the process of a lead acid battery, and this is the chemical reactions which is taking place inside a lead acid battery. So to the pros, cons and applications of lead acid batteries. Coming to the advantage of this lead acid batteries, these batteries will available in all shapes and sizes, and it's a maintenance free batteries, as well as they can be mass produced. So 97% of the lead acid batteries, so 97% of the lead which is used in a lead acid battery can be recycled and reused in new batteries, because lead is a very toxic chemical. So it has a very long life cycle. So these lead acid batteries have a very large cycle, and therefore they have a large environmental advantage. And what are the drawbacks of these lead acid batteries? So the lead which is used in these lead acid batteries is heavier compared to the alternative elements, and this lead is a very toxic chemical. And coming to the applications of the lead acid batteries, the lead acid batteries are extensively used in automobiles as well as emergency power supplies like UPS and inverters. And the second battery that we are going to discuss in this lecture is nickel cadmium battery. A nickel cadmium battery is a secondary or a rechargeable battery in which the electrical energy can be stored as chemical energy during the charging process, and later the stored chemical energy will be again converted into electrical energy and supplied to the load during the discharging process. And the battery which uses cadmium and nickel oxide as an active material for conversion of electrical to chemical and chemical to electrical energies is known as a nickel cadmium battery. And this nickel cadmium battery is widely used in telephones and biomedical equipments. So as I already told you, during the charging process, the electrical energy will be converted into chemical energy and gets stored inside a battery. And the process of converting the electrical energy into chemical energy in a battery is termed as charging. So during this charging of a battery, we supply the current to the battery, and because of the current which is flowing through the battery, the active materials which are there inside a battery will undergo some certain chemical reactions, and this chemical reaction which is undergoing inside a battery because of the flow of current into it will absorb the energy. And what is a discharging process? So during the discharging process, the stored chemical energy will be again converted into electrical energy and it can be supplied to the load. And during this process, the chemical reaction which is happened earlier in charging now gets reversed, and then this reversed chemical reaction will release the electrical energy required by the battery load. So coming to the materials which are used in a nickel cadmium battery, the anode or positive plate of this nickel cadmium battery is made of nickel oxide, NiO2, and the cathode or the positive plate of a battery is made of cadmium CD. The electrolyte which is used in this nickel cadmium battery is potassium hydroxide, and the separator which is used in this nickel cadmium batteries is a polyvinyl chloride, PVC. What is a separator? A separator is an element of a battery which is there in between the cathode and anode to isolate the cathode and anode to prevent the short circuiting inside a battery. And this separator is permeable to electrolyte, whereas it acts as an insulator to the current. Now coming to the working of this nickel cadmium battery, the nickel cadmium storage battery is formed by dipping the nickel peroxide and the cadmium electrodes in KOH electrolyte solution, that is potassium hydroxide electrolytic solution. So you have nickel oxide at the positive plate and you have cadmium at the negative plate. As we have already discussed, we have nickel oxide at the negative plate of a battery and you have cadmium at the positive plate of a battery. Now what happens? You have NiO2 at the negative plate of a battery and you have a cadmium CD at the positive plate of a battery. So during the charging process, some reactions will take place and this nickel oxide which is there at the negative plate will be converted into cadmium hydroxide, CdOH twice, and the cadmium which is there at the positive plate will be converted into nickel hydroxide, NiOH twice. And because of this, the electrical energy got stored in the battery in the form of a chemical energy. Now, when the load requires the energy, we need to discharge this stored electrical energy in the form of a chemical energy. Now, the reaction will reverse during the discharging process. Nickel hydroxide which is there at the positive plate will now again be converted into cadmium, and then cadmium hydroxide which is there in the negative plate will again be converted into nickel oxide, and in this way the chemical reaction reverses to supply the electrical energy to the load. So what are the pros, cons and applications of nickel cadmium batteries? So the advantage of nickel cadmium batteries are the chemistry which is used in this battery is a reliable chemistry. So it operates in a very different range of temperatures. So it tolerates abuse well and can perform well after long periods of storage as well. And coming to the drawbacks of this nickel cadmium batteries, it is a 3 or 5 times more expensive than lead acid battery, more costly. So its material are toxic and the recycling infrastructure for large nickel cadmium batteries is very limited. And coming to the applications of nickel cadmium batteries, they are extensively used in cellular telephones or mobiles as well as in biomedical equipment. Now let's discuss the last battery, which is a modern battery called lithium-ion battery. So this lithium-ion storage battery is a secondary or a rechargeable battery in which the electrical energy will be converted into chemical energy, and then the stored chemical energy will again be converted into electrical energy as and when the load needed it. So the battery which uses graphite and cobalt oxide for the conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy and vice versa by means of a chemical reactions is known as a lithium-ion battery. The lithium-ion batteries finds its application in the mobiles and laptop computers that we'll use in our day-to-day life. So the conversion of chemical energy by applying the external electrical supply is known as the charging of a battery. So during this charging, the electrical energy will be converted into chemical energy and get stored inside a battery by means of a chemical reaction, and this chemical reaction will absorb the energy. Whereas the conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy for supplying to the external load is known as discharging of a secondary battery. So during this discharging process, the stored chemical energy will again be converted back into electrical energy to be supplied to the load by just reversing the chemical reaction which happened earlier during charging. So what are the materials used in a lithium ion battery? So the anode or a positive electrode in a lithium ion battery is made of graphite, whereas the cathode or the positive electrode in a lithium ion battery is made of cobalt oxide, COO2. The electrolyte which is used is a mixture of the anode or a negative electrode which is used in the lithium ion battery is graphite, and the cathode or the positive electrode of a lithium ion battery is made of cobalt oxide. The electrolyte which is used in the lithium ion battery is a mixture of different lithium salts, and the separator which is used in this battery is a polypropylene or polyethylene. As the name suggests, lithium ion batteries are all about the movement of lithium ions from anode to cathode and from cathode to anode during charging as well as during discharging process. So coming to the working of this lithium ion batteries, there is one positive electrode, as you can see in the figure, a red color one, and there is a negative electrode, blue color, and this yellow color circles are nothing but lithium ions. So during the charging process, this lithium ions will move from positive plate to the negative plate through electrode, through electrolyte and separator, and at the same time the electrons will move from the external circuit from positive electrode to the negative electrode. So during the charging process, the lithium ions will move from positive plate to negative plate through electrolyte and separator, whereas the electrons also will be moving from positive plate to negative plate but through the external circuit, and the lithium ions will be reaching the negative plate, Li plus, and the electrons which are moving from positive plate to negative plate also will reach the negative electrode. So at this negative electrode, the lithium ions and electrons will combine together to form lithium, and during this process what happens? The electrical energy will be getting converted into chemical energy. So when no more ions will transfer from positive electrode to the negative electrode, the battery is fully charged and it is ready to use. So when no more ions will flow, the battery is fully charged and ready to use. So during the discharging process, the lithium ions will now move from negative terminal to the positive terminal of a battery. So along with these lithium ions, the electrons also will move from negative terminal to positive terminal of a battery but through the external lap tap. Now what happens? So here the lithium ions as well as the electrons are moving from negative terminal to the positive terminal of a battery, but the lithium ions are passing through electrolyte and separator, whereas the electrons are passing through the external circuit. And during this case, so whenever you remove the charger from your laptop, it is what happening. Now let's see the operation of these lithium ion batteries, so which are extensively used in our laptops. Now whenever the laptop have to be charged, now what we have to do, we need to plug in the electrical source into it. So whenever this happens, the lithium ions which are there in the positive terminal of a battery will now move towards the lithium will get converted into lithium ions and electrons, and the lithium ions will move through the electrolyte and separator to the negative terminal of a battery, and the electrons also will move from positive terminal to the negative terminal of a battery but not in the same direction as that of the lithium ions. They will move through a external lap tap and reaches the negative terminal of a battery. And once these lithium ions and electrons reaches the negative terminal of a battery, now what happens? When there is no further movement of these ions and electrons, it is nothing but the battery is completely charged. So when there is no further movement of these ions and electrons, the battery is termed to be completely charged. Now during the discharging process, when you remove the electrical supply from the laptop, now the lithium ions which are there in the negative electrode will now move to the positive electrode through electrolyte and separator, whereas the electrons will move from negative electrode to the positive electrode through lap tap. When all the ions are moved back, it is nothing but the battery is fully discharged and it requires charging again. So coming to the pros, cons and the applications of lithium ion batteries, the advantage is it is a high specific energy. That is, number of hours of operation for a given weight is high. So it's a high success for mobile applications as phones and notebook computers. Coming to the drawbacks, So it's a very cost differential thing. So with the same capacity of a lithium ion battery will cost more than that of a lead acid battery. So the replacement of lead acid batteries with the lithium ion batteries is very costly efforts. And coming to the applications of these lithium ion batteries are widely used in laptop computers and mobile phones. I am concluding this lecture. So in this lecture we have gone through the working of lead acid batteries, nickel cadmium batteries and lithium ion batteries. In the next lecture we are going to see different battery parameters and comparison of the batteries based on these parameters. Thank you.